The Bible is a book of prophecy, filled with divine revelations and insights. Many of these prophecies have already come to pass, validating the Bible's authenticity and reliability. This accuracy gives us confidence, a sense of assurance that what is written is trustworthy. We can trust the prophecies that are yet to be fulfilled, knowing they come from a source that has proven true. These unfulfilled prophecies offer a glimpse into the future, painting a picture of what is to come. They provide guidance and hope for believers, serving as a roadmap for our spiritual journey. They remind us of God's plan for the world, a plan that encompasses all of humanity. This plan includes a time of peace and restoration, a future where harmony and tranquility reign. These prophecies are not meant to scare us, but to prepare us for what lies ahead. They are meant to prepare us, to equip us with the knowledge and faith needed to face the future. They encourage us to strengthen our faith, to build a solid foundation on which we can stand. They remind us to live a life pleasing to God, to align our actions with His will. They call us to be a light in the darkness, to shine brightly in a world that often feels dim. We can be a source of hope for others, offering support and encouragement in times of need. One of the most intriguing prophecies is the Four Horsemen of Revelation, a vivid and powerful vision. This vision describes a series of events leading up to the end times, a sequence that has fascinated and puzzled many. The Four Horsemen represent different forms of judgment, each bringing its own challenges and trials. They symbolize the challenges the world will face, the trials that will test our resilience and faith. These challenges will test our faith, pushing us to rely on our spiritual strength and community. Understanding these prophecies can help us navigate uncertain times, providing a sense of direction and purpose. It can give us peace in the midst of chaos, a calm assurance that we are not alone. It can empower us to live with purpose and intentionality, to make meaningful contributions to our world. We can be a force for good in the world, actively working to bring about positive change. We can make a difference in the lives of others, spreading love, hope, and faith wherever we go. The book of Revelation unveils a powerful vision. This vision depicts four horsemen. Each horseman rides a different colored horse. These horsemen represent distinct aspects of God's judgment. They symbolize the trials and tribulations that will come upon the earth. The first horseman rides a white horse. He represents conquest and false peace. The second horseman rides a red horse. He represents war and bloodshed. The third horseman rides a black horse. He symbolizes famine and economic hardship. The fourth horseman rides a pale horse. He represents death and destruction. These horsemen are not literal figures. They are symbolic representations of the forces of evil. They represent the challenges humanity will face. These challenges will test our faith and resilience. Understanding the symbolism of the four horsemen can help us interpret current events. It can give us insight into the spiritual battles being waged in the world. It can remind us of the importance of staying grounded in our faith. We can find strength in God's promises. The White Horseman is often interpreted as a symbol of conquest, a figure that rides forth with an air of authority and power. He carries a bow and wears a crown, signifying his role as a leader who has achieved victory, perhaps through force or cunning. This suggests a victorious leader or a conquering power, someone who commands respect and fear, rallying people under his banner. However, some scholars believe the White Horseman represents false peace or deceptive conquest, a facade that hides darker intentions. This could manifest as political manipulation or ideological domination, where leaders use rhetoric and propaganda to control the masses. It could also represent the spread of false religions or ideologies, leading people astray from their true beliefs and values. The White Horseman's conquest is not necessarily through military force. It can be through more insidious means. It could be through subtle means of influence, such as whispering in the ears of the powerful or spreading rumors and misinformation. This could involve economic control or cultural dominance, where financial power is used to subjugate and control entire populations. It could also involve the spread of misinformation or propaganda, shaping public opinion and manipulating the truth. This deceptive conquest can be more dangerous than outright war, as it can infiltrate the very fabric of society. It can lull people into a false sense of security, making them believe that all is well while their freedoms are being eroded. It can erode their freedoms and liberties without them even realizing it, slowly tightening the chains of control. It can lead to a gradual decline of moral values and spiritual principles as people become more susceptible to corruption and vice. We must be vigilant against the deceptive tactics of the White Horseman, always questioning and seeking the truth. We must be discerning in our consumption of information, critically evaluating the sources and motives behind what we are told. We must be grounded in our faith and values, holding fast to what is true and just. We must not be swayed by false promises or empty rhetoric, but remain steadfast in our pursuit of genuine peace and justice. The Red Horseman is a symbol of war and bloodshed. He carries a large sword. This represents the power to take peace from the earth. The Red Horseman's arrival signifies a time of escalating conflict and violence. This violence can manifest in many forms. It can be physical warfare between nations. It can also be internal conflict within a country. It can be social unrest and civil disobedience. It can even be interpersonal conflict and violence. The Red Horseman's presence brings chaos and destruction. It disrupts lives and communities. It creates fear and uncertainty. It leads to suffering and loss of life. We must pray for peace in the face of the Red Horseman's influence. We must seek to be peacemakers in our own lives and communities. We must work towards reconciliation and understanding between people. We must promote justice and equality for all. Section 5. Modern parallels, global tensions, and prophetic signs. Current global events can be seen through the lens of biblical prophecy. The world today is a complex web of interconnected events and actions, each with potential significance. The rise of global powers, economic instability, and the shifting balance of power among nations are all elements that can be interpreted through prophetic texts. Increasing conflicts, whether they be military, economic, or social, could be seen as signs of the times, echoing the warnings found in ancient scriptures. These events may be harbingers of the end times, signaling a period of great upheaval and transformation. The tensions between major world powers, such as the United States and Russia, resonate with the symbolism of the Red Horseman, representing war and bloodshed. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine, for example, is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace. It highlights how quickly stability can be shattered. The threat of nuclear war looms large over the world, casting a shadow of fear and uncertainty over the future. The spread of misinformation and propaganda can be seen as a manifestation of the White Horseman's deceptive conquest, leading people astray and sowing confusion. The manipulation of public opinion and the erosion of trust in institutions are signs of a world increasingly divided and polarized, where truth becomes a rare commodity. While these events can be concerning, we must not lose hope. In times of turmoil, it is essential to find solace and strength in faith. We must remember that God is in control. His divine plan is unfolding even when the world seems chaotic and unpredictable. He is working out His plan for the world, guiding us through the darkness towards a brighter future. We must trust in His sovereignty and His goodness, believing that ultimately His will shall prevail and bring about a time of peace and restoration. Section 6. Finding hope and strength in uncertain times. In the face of global uncertainty and prophetic signs, it is easy to feel overwhelmed. Fear and anxiety can creep into our hearts. However, we must remember that we are not alone. God is with us. He will never leave us nor forsake us. We can find hope and strength in our faith. We can turn to God in prayer. We can seek His guidance and wisdom. We can find comfort in His promises. He promises to be our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. We can also find strength in community. We can connect with other believers. We can encourage one another. We can pray for one another. We can support one another through difficult times. We must not allow fear to paralyze us. We must not lose sight of God's goodness and His plan for our lives. We must continue to live with purpose and intentionality. We must be a light in the darkness. Section 7. Practical steps for believers. Responding to prophecy. As believers, we have a responsibility to respond to prophetic signs with wisdom and discernment. We must not be passive observers. We must actively engage in the world around us. We must be agents of change. We can respond to prophecy by strengthening our faith. We can deepen our relationship with God through prayer and Bible study. We can seek to grow in our understanding of His Word. We can also respond by praying for peace and wisdom for world leaders. We can intercede for those who are suffering. We can advocate for justice and equality. We can work towards reconciliation and understanding between people. We can also prepare practically for potential challenges. This may involve stocking up on essential supplies. It may involve learning basic survival skills. It may involve developing a plan for communicating with loved ones in case of emergency. Section 8. embracing peace and love in a troubled world. In a world filled with conflict and division, it is more important than ever to embrace peace and love. We must be ambassadors of Christ, demonstrating his love and compassion to everyone we encounter. We can choose to respond to negativity with kindness. We can choose to forgive those who have wronged us. We can choose to build bridges instead of walls. We can choose to see the good in others, even when it is difficult. We can be a source of hope and healing in a broken world. We can be a beacon of light in the darkness. We can be a force for good in the midst of evil. By choosing love over hate, forgiveness over bitterness, and peace over conflict, we can make a difference in the world. We can be instruments of God's grace and mercy. Section 9. A call to faith and action. The times we live in are challenging. The world is facing unprecedented challenges. However, we must not lose hope. We must not give in to fear. We must stand firm in our faith. We are called to be people of faith and action. We're called to be salt and light in the world. We're called to make a difference in the lives of others. Let us commit ourselves to living a life pleasing to God. Let us be a source of hope and encouragement to those around us. Let us be agents of change in a world that desperately needs it. Let us pray for peace, for wisdom, and for God's guidance in these uncertain times. May God bless you and keep you. May he make his face shine upon you and give you peace.